What's up, everybody? This is the Jedi. Good evening, and good evening around the world. Today is Saturday, and I apologize that I wasn't able to be with you yesterday, but it just wasn't the will of Allah. I want to say that I saw this come across my feed in the last days or whatever it's been, and I ignored it because I thought it was an old piece. Indeed, the case is old, but I thought we had been through this already. I thought that I don't know, a couple years ago or something, when we had video images of this lady, somebody was like at her house or somewhere where she lives walking around. And for some reason, I just thought this was a non-event anymore. And then I began to understand that no, this is something that is moved in the last days. I didn't know there was any build-up to it. I didn't know this was even being pursued. I have said the bitch should be dead already. That she's alive and we know where she lives. I don't understand how she's still living, just, or how her house still stands. Just don't understand. But I thought it was over. But apparently it's not. And so I wanted to use this as my sort of jump off point for our live event today. And of course, there are other things that we will bring up, other matters, and of course, anything that you would like to broach. There may be some things that I'm even unaware of. Just any topic. If you are new to me, I am the Jedi. And in my live events, I only present myself live in order for it to be an interactive event. First thing I need you to do is to thumbs up the stream. Not only does it help their algorithm, but more important than that for me is that is a sign of respect of the time that I'm taking to sit here and to make myself available to you. Also, you can bring up any topic that you would like to discuss or broach. I always bring my part, and then I just kind of open up the floor for all of us. You can subscribe if you think I'm fantastic. If I call myself the Jedi because when I started on YouTube and I needed to put in a name, I just instinctively didn't use my given birth name, but that was just a gift from the universe. And I pondered, and because I've always felt alone in my passions on the earth, I'm usually alone in a group or in a room or anything else. I've always felt and continue to feel that I am the possessed being, possessed by many of the ancestors who went before me, who were filled with the same passions that I'm filled with, who are unabashed to be vocal and bold and to tell the truth, no matter what the cost or the consequence or how it makes anyone feel. And I felt that because I don't hear my voice out in the world, I feel like I was one of the last people that expresses the way that I do and has that same sense of fearlessness, and it's a metaphor because in the Star Wars movies, Luke Skywalker was the last hope for the Alliance. And I consider us as a people to be the Alliance fighting against the evil white empire. And because all the other ones had been killed off before him, he was now the last of the Jedi, the last hope, the last one willing to take it to the Empire and to confront Vader and the Empire and the Emperor, and to make a better way for the Alliance, i.e. his people. And so for this reason, I call myself the Jedi. I always encourage you. I see a lot of ridiculous screen names, some with numbers that mean nothing. I get it. It's your impression of social media, and that's fine, but you should always maintain your integrity no matter where you exist and breathe on the earth, or anything that represents you in life, even down to a screen name for social media. It should have meaning for you. It doesn't have to be deep, but it should be personal, and it should have some meaning to it. Something that expresses your humanity, or something, you know. And also, you should not live in a place of fear, so you should have a picture as your thumbnail. You know, fear is something that is the Achilles heel of African people. It's a space I don't live in. Fear is foreign to me. I understand it in a cerebral way. It's cursory to me. But I also understand its power. And fear can be a great motivator for anything or anyone, but it can also be very crippling. And indeed, it has been and continues to be a crippling force upon African people. So you, as an individual, need to begin to dig your way out of fear, and you can take baby steps. And one of the things that you can do is to put up a picture of yourself, not just here on YouTube, just anywhere you exist on social media. Represent yourself. You're a human being. You're living a one-shot life. You're not getting another one after this. There's no do-overs. There's no repeats. And so what you do with this life should have purposeful meaning. You should never do anything that's random. I'm all for spontaneity. I'm a very spontaneous human being. I love that. But you should also have purpose in your direction and your course in life, because you're not getting another one. Don't waste it. Don't waste it. Don't waste time. Don't waste you. Live out your representation of yourself that is pleasing to you, but it needs to be centered in righteousness and what is good. That's what you need to do. And especially us as African people. And if you're also new to me, I'm only ever, and always speaking to, for, and about African people. I'm not interested in anyone else, least of all white people. White people are the reason why I'm sitting here right now to do this subject on this live stream, because they exist. If they did not exist, then Emmett Till would have lived, we presume, to his fruition as a man. Maybe he would have produced children and a legacy for himself and his family. But that didn't happen because white people exist. That's why. That's why. I just saw in the last days, I saw this guy. I've presented him to you before. And now his name escapes me. He's some mixed martial artist or some kickboxer. Are both my hands getting in frame? Yeah. It's important for me that you see my hands, because I'm somebody that speaks with my hands anyway. And so if I sit up here and you can't see my hands, then it feels different for you and for me. I'm an animated person, and I speak with my hands. And with the camera this close to me, I have to make sure I raise my hands in order to express. There's videos here on the channel you can go back and see when I have different camera angles. I'm a little further away. You could see more of my body, and so I don't have to, I can just gesture down here like I'm doing now, but you can't see it. Or if I point or I do something, you can't see it. So I'm always expressing with my hands. Anyway, this guy was saying about, he's a mixed martial artist or a kickboxer or something like this. He's very successful apparently, but my garment is not. And one of the things that he said in this piece, he was being interviewed. He was predicting that America, he says, I don't see how America is even here in 100 years even, maybe even less. He said, because, you go to China, I've said this is one of the reasons why it resonated with me. You go to China and let's say you go as a young adult, you're 20, and you have a wife, and you produce several children. The Chinese will never accept you as a Chinese. You are not Chinese. It doesn't matter that you live there for many years, and now your children are being born there. That's fine, but you will never be accepted or seen or defined as a Chinese. You're not. And that's fine. That's the way it should be. They are Chinese people. Allah says to mankind, I've made you of many tribes and nations that you may know one another, not that you're the same. And so, as it relates to us, I've said and I continue to say, we must identify ourselves as Africans. You don't even need to add this American thing to that because it's déclassé. It's like I have a diamond on a wooden pole. Well, the wooden pole just kind of takes from it. The diamond can kind of stand on its own. It's glorious. It's brilliant. The way it reflects light and all these things. The diamond is enough on its own. It's kind of good. And that's how I understand my own representation of myself. I'm an African. I am. I don't need to add American. And they've made it very clear that you will never be an American. I'm okay with that. Yet, at the same time, they want you to divorce yourself of your full identity when you come here from another nation, or even if you are unfortunate enough to have been brought here by white people against your will, then they want you to be an American. I'm not. And indeed, anyone who has ever come here or will come here from anywhere across the earth will never be an American. You always will be whatever your point of origin is. So today you could go to your local zoo and see giraffe, for instance. Well, giraffe don't come from America. Giraffe come from Africa. So we never say that a giraffe is American. We never say it. We don't. I love African violets as a plant. They're very beautiful. And I could go to Walmart right now and say, yeah, I need to see an African violet. It's always going to be an African violet. It's never going to be an American violet. It won't be. So you have to maintain your integrity, and you have to be clear about who you are and where you are. It's 2022, damn near 2023, quite frankly. But irrespective of time and calendar, I'm also approaching this topic today because it's another chance for me to remind you that nothing has changed as it relates to the actions of white people, particularly in this nation. We could look around the earth, but particularly here, because this is the central headquarters of evil and distress for all of humanity. To go back to this guy that I was telling you about, this kickboxer dude, he was saying that when he's wealthy, so he travels all over the place. And he was saying, if I go to, he made the point about China, but he was saying, one of the things about America is there's nothing to being American. You go to Dubai, or you go to Japan, or you go to, what was the other place he named? It was a South American country. I can't remember. But anyway, he was saying that there's a way of being. They have a way of being. that binds them and that identifies them. This is all stuff I've said to you. And he was making the point that if that there's nothing that binds Americans, there's nothing to being American. You know, if you take away the fiat currency that is basically a heist upon the Earth's economy, that would be the American dollar, then you have nothing. What is being American? I'm asking now. What is it? You see, what is it? I am going to move to the Gambia. What is it to be a Gambian? It is a Muslim country. It's an Islamic country. So there is the Sharia, that is the law of the land. There is a code of living, even if it wasn't an Islamic country, just that it's an African country. There's something to being African that has nothing to do with money or class or government. There's something to being African. So there's nothing to being American. There's nothing to America. There's nothing to it at all. Nothing to it. Nothing to it. Nothing, nothing, nothing. I need you to ponder that and think about that and reflect on it, because maybe you hadn't thought about it. But when you sit and think, then you go, yeah. What is being American? What's that mean? You know, even the standing of the Pledge of Allegiance, which none of us do, and if you do, you need to stop. You know, you put your hand over your heart to pledge allegiance. To what? What does this mean? To what? To righteousness? No, strike that. I don't know. Humanity? No, that's out. Let's see, I'm sure we're pledging allegiance to goodness. Nope. Community? Nope. Prosperity? Nope. Love? Nope. Peace? Nope. Family? No. What are we pledging to? What are we pledging to? What is it? There is nothing that you're pledging to. Africans need to divorce yourself mentally, even if you can't physically. You need to divorce yourself of your American identity. You need to, as an individual, go inside of yourself and find out, who are you? What are you made of? What is your foundation and the support that holds up you as an individual, as a human being? And at least start living on that. You know, your family, your convictions, your principles, you know, at the forefront of everything of your life should be a righteous intention. If you just start there, everything goes up. But our people, with the stench and the stain left upon us called Christianity, have no spiritual identity. You have spiritual rhetoric, but not an identity, and certainly not an actionable way of life that reflects spirituality, belief in God, holiness, and righteousness. You don't have it. And part of what you've been sold is to love those who hate you to death, want nothing more than to have you dead. And that will be white people. Somebody I was talking with, or I saw something or something, was saying, it might have been when we did the piece recently about the Exodus, about black people just leaving this place. That is something that you need to really consider, because we have a whole continent and a whole identity, most importantly, a whole way of living. A whole way of living. I was speaking to a Latino brother that I know earlier today. And I had a very good conversation with him that I didn't even know or intended. I was just talking. But I could see that. And what kept me there even speaking to him as long as I did was because I could see how profound what I was saying to him was. I was telling him yet again, I'm leaving for Africa in November. And I was saying, among other things I was saying to him, I was like, you can even live a lot cheaper in Africa than you're living here, And I began to show him some video on my phone of some videos that I have saved, and one was a couple of properties that they were showing. And he was like, I want my wife to see this. I want my wife to see it, And I could tell that, sometimes you can just turn on a light bulb and people go, oh, I didn't think of it. I didn't think of that. I just didn't think about that. This was one of those moments I could see he was having. Like, he's kind of in his twilight a little bit, and but he's not elderly. And I could see, what I was allowed to see was that it was all converging for him in that moment. Like, wow, I really don't have to do this, and I can tell that he and his wife are in a space in their lives where, the kids are grown now, there's grandkids, and, they just kind of, you could just tell it just kind of reeks on them of like, they are resolved to just live out their days. But he hadn't thought about this, just peace, tranquility, humanity, community, nature, real food, real water. You're never going to have that here. And proof of that, not that we needed any more proof or evidence, is this case. This white whore, for anyone who doesn't know, is why Emmett Lewis Till, Rahimahullah, is no longer with us. 1955, there he was. He had traveled from his home to his uncle's house in Mississippi. He's from Chicago. I'm from Chicago. And allegedly, but we don't know the truth because white people are the ones telling the story. So it's immediately by default, it's a lie. It's a deceptive tale. But the white reckoning and recalling of the event is that Emmett and some of his friends, and I feel like his cousin, went to like a little convenience store, and this is where the white whore worked. And allegedly, he whistled at her or oogled at her. We're still not clear. We don't know. We don't know. And this was one of your earliest recordings of a Karen, because they've always been. But this is one of the earliest recordings, we'll call it, of a Karen. And the bitch made it seem as if she was so offended and she was in danger and she couldn't go on and she could barely breathe. I think they brought her water and oxygen. And then later that evening, the white demon devil men, her husband and others, went to Emmett's uncle's house and with guns, because white people show up in groups and with a gun, and that's the only time they feel tough. Group gun, group gun, group gun, group gun. And there they were. And demanding, he's in bed with his cousin or his brother. They literally went in and got him out of his bed. Emmett's, 11, 12 years old? And because his uncle, no doubt, was gripped by fear by seeing these demons coming in the night, he put up no resistance. Something we're still doing today. No resistance. No physical, violent resistance is why Emmett Till was taken from the house. No shade to his uncle, but at the same time, some things you have to die for, or you gotta die trying. And among them is nobody's coming in my house, I don't care what decade it's in, and removing my nephew from my home without me drawing blood or spilling blood. It's not happening. It won't. You could come with a tank. You're not taking my nephew. It's not happening. And if that means my death, then that's what it means. It's one of the reasons I've said to you and continue to say to you, African people have to get into a place where you have to be willing to kill and you got to be willing to die. That's two principles we've never accepted or really pondered. But they're the two things we've never done. And I always say, if you want something you never had, you've got to do something you never did. This is the golden key to success on anything you want to ponder or attempt in life. If you've never heard that principle before today, I just gave you the magic key to anything in the world. Anything. That's not a dramatic statement. Most of all, it's the truth. Anything that you've had difficulty with in the past, or you couldn't conquer something, you couldn't overcome, or this didn't work out, or that would whatever. Do something you never did, and wallahi, you will have a different result. This I promise you. And you can come back and pay me my 10%, and there'll be lawyers' fees and some other things I don't want to get into right now. But there was no physical resistance on that evening. Police brutality, white murder, white lynching, white terrorism continues upon African people and is a daily headline across this bitch because we've not had a violent physical response. We've not had a violent physical response. A violent physical response. We're not even threatening a violent physical response to violence upon us. And to tie that back to the Christianity, one of its principles is to love your enemy. I could choke sitting here, just even saying that. I think I lost a tooth. It is unhuman. It is antithetical. It is insane to love anyone who doesn't love you. It doesn't even have to be a contentious relationship. You don't fuck with me, I don't fuck with you. We good. That's it. That's it. You don't love me, I don't love you. That's fine. I mean, I hate you. I just don't love you. You don't love me, I don't love you. And I don't have shit to do with you. But this love your enemy. Then the other one that makes me vomit, and I've been in the hospital several times over this, and they weren't sure if it was going to go well for me. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Well, see, that's the prologue. That's after the fact. You see, that's when you haven't started shit. I would want you to welcome me into your home. I would want you to give me something to eat and be nice to me and be my best friend and, you know, care about me and all of that. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Yeah, let's set the standard. But that's before the fact. That's not after you've been fucked with. After you've been fucked with, it's do unto others as they do unto you. And they don't do the shit no more. Write that principle down. Do unto others as they do unto you. And life will be vastly different for you. So 1955, this Carolyn bitch, Carolyn Bryant Donham, just white whore, is good enough for us. We're good with that. Apparently now this is the development. I've not read it. I've not seen any video on it. And in fact, even preparing to come before you, I accidentally ran into this clip I'm going to play for you first. Because apparently this took place in March. I didn't know about this. And I've ranted about it, not knowing that this existed because I've said to you, you know, you can't even get an anti-lynching law in this bitch, while these rainbow feathers are getting rulings and they're getting decisions and they're getting executive orders and all of this for their trans this and I'm trans that and I'm a bumblebee. No. But apparently this took place and I was unawares. So we'll start with this. This was apparently the Croak Today Joe, who is going to croak, by the way. He will not finish his term for one reason or the other. Either he's going to croak or it's going to just be too, they won't be able to just hide it anymore. He's not fit to not only be president, he's not physically and mentally, he doesn't have the agility and the mental property at this point to lead anything, not even himself to the bathroom. I said this before he was even selected. I said this. We all saw videos of him making what we'll call speeches when he was on the campaign trail. We saw him blundering. His cognitive ability just wasn't there. He's stumbling over words. He literally, wallahi, didn't remember what office he was running for. In one of the speeches, he said he was running for the U.S. Senate. Why is he in the Oval Office again? How's he got the presidential motorcade? What? You know, he doesn't have it. He does not have it. He does not have it. He is an old, decrepit, wrinkled, shriveled up white man who is living out a personal goal of just being president. Little Joey became president. That's his whole bag. Little Joey. And I told you we're going to have to hear that for at least 4 years. My dad used to say to me, Joey, Joey. I don't want to hear Joey. In fact, I despise the name Joey. I think I could vomit now. I won't say it again because if I do, I don't know what could happen. But there he was, apparently in March. Let's bring you in. This will lead us into the whore. I don't love that. So let us do this. Okay, I don't hate that as bad. All right, let us hear this now. This was 30th March of this year. It says, historic injustice. Croak Today Joe makes lynching a U.S. hate crime in 2022. So just for anyone who's just not clear on the profound merit of this, that means up until March of this year, it was absolutely fine to lynch African people. And the delay also shows the desire to lynch us. Because if you really didn't want to do it, you would have ran to sign something long before I was ever even born. They can rush to legislation when they want to. I cite for you the Chinese people that were being pushed down for about 5 minutes. I'm being told it was 8 minutes. That's fine. And there it was, an executive order and reparations for all their suffrage. And they just suffered for being pushed down on the sidewalk. They suffered. So not only did they get a bill, an anti-hate bill, they also got a coin. But you didn't get shit. Now, here this white bitch comes, who's still living, Oh, and let us remember, I brought you the 101-year-old who they rolled into court, and he's doing time now because of some Nazi Germany shit that didn't even happen on this soil. Because the Zionists are very, very, they're just very tender and very, oh my God. But nothing for you. This goes to intent, everybody. Malicious intent. Consciousness of guilt. Don't tell me shit about innocent white people. And don't tell me shit about any other race, because nobody else can roll out anything that I'm saying to you today. There is no equal to us. There is no equal. There's not another one. There isn't. Now, let's hear this.
After 145 years, lynching is now a federal hate crime in the United States.
After. We'll just hear that again.
After 145 years, lynching is now a federal hate crime in the United States.
By the way, he has no idea what he just signed. He doesn't know. He doesn't know. He has no idea what he signed. They just go, here, Joe, sign something. And, ooh, I get to be president. Signed it. No idea what he signed.
The civil rights leaders gather here today, and most of all, the family of Emmett Till and Ida B. Wells.
Oh, Mimit. Did you catch it? Mimit.
Leaders gather here today, and most of all, the family of Emmett Till and Ida B. Wells.
I may be wrong on that.
Thank you.
All right. Strike that.
Emmett Till and Ida B. Wells. All the family of Emmett Till. All the family of Emmett Till.
It's a little close.
Family of Emmett Till and Ida B. Wells. Thank you for never giving up. Never, ever giving up.
19th century journalist and activist Ida B. Wells lobbied everyone she could to ban lynching, the practice of killing men, women, and children, most of them African American, but some Latino and Asian American, and then...
No. You see, they slipped that in. Most of them African American, but there was some, no. You see, again, the disrespect. Because when they talk about these fake-ass Jew people, you don't hear shit else mentioned with them. Nothing. Not the fucking Santa Claus, the Easter Bunny, nobody, bitch. Just them. But every time you mention our suffrage, you got to add these fucking people. Does anybody have any mental image when you think about even the micro amount of history that has been written or shown when you were in school and things like that? And they talk about slavery, they talk about the civil rights era. Do you have any image in your mind of anybody fucking Latino at this moment? Just anybody. We'll just hear it again. Because they also add a bunch of shit.
Could to ban lynching, the practice of killing men, women, and children, most of them African American, but some Latino and Asian American.
But some, well, what? Because I don't see no Asians saying this is some bullshit and yeah, we need an anti-lynching law. Haven't seen, don't hear anything out of them other than $5. Haven't heard any Latinos, no shade, just the truth. You see? And I'm not even blaming them. They're being sort of usurped and sort of commandeered, if you will. Because they can never just fucking acknowledge it's us. They're going to add other people. And they never even mention that the crimes are only from white people. They never mention that. I always name the hand. Gotta name it. We're going, I'll shut up.
Some African American, but some Latino and Asian American, and then displaying their corpses as a warning to racial minorities. They could be next.
And for that?
And a warning to racial minorities. They just can't even tell the fucking truth. They would burn black people and torture them in front of other black people to send a message to black people. That's it. In fact, any Latino or Asian watching this has no emotional connection to it. They don't feel any personal relationship to it. It's an over there thing to those people. They know it, and goddamn it, so do we. But this is how they tell the story, you see, through the forked tongue of this serpent.
And for that, her life was threatened, her printing press was destroyed, and she was exiled from the South.
By white people. Again, you have to, like, it just happened to her. I don't allow that. I don't allow that. I don't allow it. I don't allow that. You see? I'll shut up. We have to go back to Ida B. Wells so you can hear it in context. I'll shut up. I'll turn on the air.
19th century journalist and activist Ida B. Wells lobbied everyone she could to ban lynching, the practice of killing men, women, and children, most of them African American, but some Latino and Asian American, and then displaying their corpses as a warning to racial minorities. They could be next.
And for that, her life was threatened, her printing press was destroyed, and she was exiled from the South. Despite losing everything, she continued to speak out.
In 1955, two white men beat, shot, and drowned 14-year-old Emmett Till because he allegedly made a pass at one of their wives, Carolyn Bryant. Till's mother, Mamie, demanded the public see his mutilated corpse, igniting a new anti-lynching campaign. In state court, an all-white jury let Till's killers go free, and with no anti-lynching law on the federal books, the federal court system could offer no justice. 67 years later, Congress finally acts, imposing a 30-year prison sentence on those convicted of lynching.
Racial acts of terror still occur in our nation. And when they do, we must all have the courage to name them and hold the perpetrators to account.
Indeed, Emmett Till's family is still looking for justice. They want the Justice Department to prosecute Carolyn Bryant before she dies, and they're worried time's running out. Rosalind Jordan, Al Jazeera, Washington.
Now, isn't it ironic? We have to go back and see the vice whore in chief.
30-year prison sentence.
Because it's also an opportunity to point out that she can never speak passionately on the issue with any credibility because she's laying down with a serpent every night. So it's just, interesting that she has no children. I don't want to get into it. I don't want to get into it. But let me come back. You heard the division, how they said, they were talking about Ida B. Wells, her printing press was burned down and all of this, but they don't specify white people did that. But when they get to the jury, they say then an all-white jury didn't convict. You see, these are important things to say because the American public is the dumbest population of people anywhere assembled on the earth. That's a statement of fact. And so they can't make the connection. This is why even when you have a news clip of a police murder, they'll say, we have to warn you, what you're about to see will be graphic. Does anybody need to say that? Do you need to say that? You just opened with, so-and-so was murdered by the police. And so just in case, we have to warn you, what you're about to see could be disturbing to some viewers. Who? What viewer? Because there's a babying. This is one of the reasons why I communicate in life the way that I do. I'm not giving you no spoon. I'm not giving you no help. I'm not giving you no hitch up. I'm not. I'm demanding your intellectual property. Either you have it or you don't. Done. I don't need to speak the unnecessary. I'll give you another example. Especially for scared to death ass Negroes who will use sentences like this following sentence. We'll say, either they get real hushed when they talk about white folks, or they say, something about white folks, and they say, I mean, I don't hate nobody. You're never going to hear that out of me. Not hearing it. Not hearing it. First of all, I don't need to. That's one. I don't need to. I don't need to. Second thing is it is part of my campaign of psychological warfare. As an African man who is under attack every damn day in this bitch, I understand that part of the attack upon me is psychological. And so one must wage war back when you're being attacked or aggressed, whether you're an army or an individual, it doesn't matter. So I'm being aggressed upon. And in war, you use all strategies. Among them is psychological. Over Nagasaki and Hiroshima, the White Devils were dropping pamphlets, flyers, before the bombings. You see? Psychological. And then, well, we have to hear the horror at the end. We just have to hear it. We have to. The wench in chief. We have to hear it. And her lack of credibility as a human being, quite frankly. Kamala. Sounds like a furball. Hear her statement.
On those convicted of lynching.
Look.
Racial acts of terror still occur in our nation. And when they do,
same hair as the day you met her. Nothing changed. Like I told you guys this before they were even installed. She's a lawyer. I've been around too many lawyers in my life, and I've definitely been around a lot of female attorneys. They are one note, one hairstyle, usually one or two outfits. That's it. You're not going to get a high heel out of them. They're lawyers. That it's just part of it. And she's been everything that I said to you she was going to be. You're not going to get any gussying up. There's not going to be updo hairstyles and the little earrings that come down. And oh my God, she's somebody amazing who's done her makeup and she's in some gown that's flowing from Versace. No. One fucking suit, bitch. That's it. That's it. And she always looks like they said, Kamala, quick, put the blunt down. You're on. You're on. And she quickly douches it out just and scurries. You see, this is her.
Still occur in our nation.
No passion.
And when they do, we must all have the courage to name them and hold the perpetrators to account.
The perpetrators. You see, you have to listen down, everybody. Listen down. Do you know what she just said right there? Do you know? Do you know what she just said? Don't feel bad if you don't. This is why the Jedi speaks. Because that little statement, I'll just let you hear it again. Hear this now.
Perpetrators.
Just wait.
And hold the perpetrators.
Wait. We got to get it in context. From Kamala with a K. I'm over it.
And when they do,
She says there's still acts of violence. Wait, we have to just hear the context. Damn it.
Acts of terror.
There's still racial acts of terror. So she can now call it terror, you see? As if it's a 7-Eleven being robbed. There's still racial acts of terror. Stay with me.
Still occur in our nation.
Like these pimples, these acne bumps or something, these little pockets of things that are, it's very secluded and specific and not wide ranging. Still happen in our nation, just like, bridges collapse. It's right up there with that, according to Kamala. Go on.
And when they do.
And when they do, because they're so random, they're about as frequent as a tornado. They never happen. But when they do, says Kamala, because she's being tough.
We must all have the courage.
We must all have the courage.
To name them.
To name them. So when that bank robber robs the bank and that was Craig, you got to tell us. I'm coming to a point.
And hold the perpetrators to account.
And hold the perpetrators to account, said the vice presidential whore. So what she just did as a alleged black woman, because today she's black, then tomorrow she's Polynesian, and then she's exotic, and then she's Hawaiian, and then she just gets into a lot of other flavors that I can't get into. But what she just stood there as a black woman and represented and then forwarded on is that this is not a nation of just hateful ass white people. That there's just this pocket. And they just happen, you know, and when they do, because they only come around as often as Christmas and maybe Easter, all right, maybe Valentine's Day if you want to throw that into, fine. All right, but when they do, we have to name them. Meanwhile, if I open up my MSN page right now, I could read you at least 10 fucking things of terrorist acts from white people against African people. Not Asians, not Latinos, to use their phraseology earlier, just black people. But there she stood, supposed to be the first black female vice president, all in quotations and highlighted because all of it's bullshit. And that was the statement. When they happen, we got to be tough and name them. Well, I'll name it. AMERICA. Wait. WHITE dash AMERICA. I think that names it. I think that does it. You like it too. All right, there's one whore that says she doesn't like it, but everybody loves it. They're all telling me. They're all telling me. They're all telling me. They're all telling me. The craft of language. Because she's also a scared to death ass Negro. Well, she ain't really no Negro. We're just going to use it for our purposes. So this is her moment to indict, to call to account the very things that she's claiming they want to do. And when we see it, we're going to call them out and name it while I'm not calling it out and naming it. Double speak all in one fucking sentence. Did you catch it? I'm over it, man. I'm over it. They're very crafty. They're very crafty. Very crafty. So they didn't mean it, of course. Because I'd like to see that bill. I'd like to see the anti-lynching law. We may get into it. I'm threatening to do a search because the language I'm looking for, now that I know this exists, is because any and all encounters of African people with the paid racist murderers known as police, they should be somehow included in the language of this fucking legislation, no matter what else it says. I bet you the word police is nowhere in that legislation. Who's got $50 they wanna wager against me? Who's got it? Who's got it? Who's got it? Who thinks the Jedi would be wrong? Who thinks it? I'm happy to be wrong. It's fine. Who thinks I'll be wrong? Who thinks it? Who thinks this? Who thinks it? Now, I want to go into this article from the lying ass New York Times. I want to acknowledge who's here first. I may be sitting here talking to myself. I mean, I have an audience. Let's see. Let's close this out. All right. A shout out to Black Beauty always. Shout out to you, Queen. There was something else. Black Beauty, you were on my mind. I need to, what does it need to say? Oh, you were one of the people who was concerned about me. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. You left me some message, Jedi, where are you, or something like that. And why it meant something to me is because it meant that I was on your heart. That mattered to me. So I appreciate that. And I do take that very personally, and I appreciate it. Big shout out to you, Black Beauty. Sweet D, a big shout out to you, Queen. Blessings back at you. Anjane 23, Ride or Die Queen. Wow, I almost called you when you sent me that last text, but I got some makeup phone calls I got to do, and I was like, I just can't, damn it, I can't. Mike Jefferson, a shout out to you. The peninsula of all peninsulas. I'm out of context. What did I say, Mike, that made you say the peninsula of all peninsulas? What did I say? But shout out to you. Miss Matthews, a big shout out to you, Queen. And good evening and a greeting. Cheryl Bryant, Ride or Die, big shout out to you. Good to see you. Shiro, my ultimate queen. I miss you. I do. I need you to know that from my soul. I miss you. I do. And I want to say to everybody, and particularly you, Shiro, you know, sometimes I neglect. Even just now, since we've been on, that ringtone was from my best friend, Joseph, in Florida. Oh, well, I didn't answer because I'm on a live right now, but I'm using that also to say to you, there's times when I could reach out and, well, just one more video, one more article, one more thing I got, you know, and I can't pull myself away from the work. You know, even earlier today, I was immersing myself in finding Facebook groups that deal with the Gambia, you know, and so, you know, that stuff like that just pulls me away. But I'm always available. If you guys call me, I'll certainly answer the phone and I'll holler at you. But I just need to say that. I just need to say that. But I'm so glad to see you, Shiro, and I miss you so much. Miss Matthews, you say in the book. Oh, I know what I meant to say. You, Miss Matthews. A few streams back, I didn't catch it until we were done, where you were saying about wardrobe. You were doing sort of a etymology on the word, and I really thought it was brilliant. I appreciated it. But you say here now in the book, Homo Sapiens by A.K., he wrote to what the earth must do to restore sane balance on her axis. Shiro, I'm cooking and listening, Jedi. What you fixing? I know you're fixing me a plate. So I'm going to make this a real quick stream, and I'm on my way and stuff. So that's nothing. So I'm on my way. So fix me a plate. Fix me a plate. Portia Snelling, a big shout out to you, Queen. Good evening. Miss Matthews, you say per study. First let me shout out everybody, and then I'll come back and read. How about I do that? Kiara, shout out to you. I'll just remember that I was at Miss Matthews. And I need to highlight these, so I'll leave that one highlighted. So I know that's the one I were to come back. And Kiara, big shout out to you, Queen. I'm so glad to see you. Who else haven't I shouted out? Frankie Cardona, it's always good to see you, my brother. Ride or die, ride or die. Good to see you. Rain Falling Sounds. Well, there's a name. Can you give me something else I can refer to you at or as while we're in the stream? Rain, or God, just call you Rain. You feel me? This goes back to what I was saying earlier in my opening about names and having something that means something, and put up a picture and all of that, like Rain Falling Sounds. I'll have to buy a vowel, you know, but good to see you. Big shout out to you. Thank you for being part of the stream. Monique, my cousin. Good evening to you, Queen. I'll come back and read you guys' comments. I just wanted to get down to everybody and shout everybody out first, because I want to go, I want to get into our article, but I'll begin back here at Miss Matthews. You say, per study, they want America to cease looking American to take it over. Well, you know, I don't really think people are that obsessed with it. You know what I mean? I think it gives too much credit to, it makes your statement suggests you know, America would be some great asset to have, you know, like you infiltrate and take things that are of value, you know. Ooh, let's sneak in, make them think I'll just work at the bank as a teller, but I'm gonna be in the vault. You feel me? America's nothing. So whoever is seeking this that you are saying, whatever, good luck, I guess, you know. Carrie, you say hello, King and family in the chat. Sweet D, we would have all been dead. You ain't taking my child. Amen. Amen. But it also gives me an opportunity to make this point too. There's a video I have here on the channel called "No Guns for Negroes," because I've forwarded the understanding to you over the years that I proclaim as fact that there is an unwritten rule that they don't want black people to have guns. And indeed, there was a time when we couldn't have them. But I proclaim to you that that time never ended. So now it's just all fake. That's why they're always in such a bunch when it comes to gun laws. After one of their white asses has shot up yet another fucking mass shooting someplace. Oh, we still don't know what we can do about guns. We just don't know. Geez, wish we could do something. But there it was. The Black Panther just were carrying their guns around, marched into the state capitol in California, and next day California became a not an open carry state anymore. I just wonder how that happened. I don't know how it could have happened. I don't know how it could even happen and stuff. We don't even know. Anjane. They never, why am I not clicking on these? They never would have gotten him out of that house if Mamie would have been there. Amen. Because that was a determined sister, Rahim of Allah. Man. I'm going to talk more about her specifically when we get to this whore. Cheryl, Jedi, the correct age of Emmett was 14. Thank you, Cheryl, keeping me on my toes. I love you for that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It's one of the many reasons why I love you. I appreciate that. Thank you. And it also lets me know you're listening. You know, it's one reason why I watch my work back, everybody, because, you know, my brain is going, and sometimes I can misstate something. It's something subtle. It doesn't really mean anything, but it matters. It matters. And this was an example of that. So thank you for snatching me back over to the left and snatching me back. Anjane, what's up, Cheryl? Oh, that's to Cheryl. Cheryl to Anjane, Kiara to Anjane, Cheryl. Jim Crow Joe is a whole fucking clown. And I'm just going to capitalize whole for you because it's a nightmare. And any African male who had been this blundering, the media would have been laughing at him across all of the networks. But white collusion, white allegiance, you see? And definitely not those niggers. Because if Bernie Sanders becomes president, damn it, he's going to want Medicare for all. And we know the people that are least insured and the most sickly is those damn blacks. Ugh, we don't want Bernie. He'll let them go to college. He'll forgive their student debt. Ugh. He'll raise the minimum wage. They'll have more money. Quick, Roland Joe. Get up. Ugh. The Asian stuff made me absolutely sick, didn't it? And by the way, not that I didn't have any empathy for them. It was very sad and very terrible. And oh my God, it should have happened. My whole house is Asian. I should be speaking at least Mandarin. You feel me? I love Asian people. I love Asian culture. But they don't love me. And I don't love nobody that don't love me. So I'm consistent. But to their moment of inconvenience, it wasn't that big of a deal. Because I'm sure in the same week that they were being pushed down, at least a dozen of us were murdered by the police. I mean, let's just keep it 100. You feel me? This is not an either or proposition. It's just like, let us understand that there's more ingredients in this damn thing. Sweet D. Them hats always but hurt. I think I understand it, D, but you gonna proofread. Kiara, oh my God, such bullshit. Cheryl, these dirty, why am I not clicking on them so I can see them better? These dirty white supremacists are always trying to latch these Asians and Latinos onto our culture. Always. You know, that's why they coined this term people of color, like you just add them, just sort of fold them into you and shit. Gotta, but it's only us when it comes to disease and crime and other crap, right? They happen to don't mention nobody else with us. Sweet D, they finally brought Cammy out. Surprised she didn't just give the whole speech, because Joe Biden, he knows that lynching is against the law. He knows what black people suffer, even though he wrote the 94 crime bill that put more black people behind bars than anything else. Joe Biden knows. Let her tell it through her blunt. Mike Jefferson, you say she's generalizing the act of white people as perps. I'll just read it again. I like that. She's generalizing the act of white people as perps. And I would say, well, my whole argument was that she, while she's generalizing it, she's mineralizing it as if it's just very isolated. It's about as often as a tornado. It doesn't really go on. You know, you'd find a 4-leaf clover before anything would happen. You know, it was just, you go on, you say she's making her zaddy proud. Demon. Rain. Well, that makes black people white supremacists too, because many moderators, get ready, that makes black people white supremacists too, because many black people try to claim these other races and include and invite them to the cookout. Well, those are the ones we're getting rid of, Rain. And you maybe remember something else that I meant to say when I was talking about them coming in, and the whole case of Emmett Till is because this young little boy who just barely came into puberty, as if he would be that oogled over this dog-looking ass white bitch. But fast forward to every fucking commercial and ad and anything in media is white bitch, black man. At the same time, so here's the ultimate irony. I'm sure this was reported on television at some point. I don't have television. I'm sure this was reported on television. And I'm sure they talked about this case, and then right after that ran an ad with a white bitch with a black man in it. But you can make the statement, Rain, without me being suspicious of you being a white devil. I don't have any problem with your issue of black people inviting them in and all that stuff, but to come with that makes black people white supremacists, you must be a white devil, because no black person would say that. How could black people be white supremacists? I'm gonna see what else you wrote, but I feel like we're gonna get rid of you. Jedi, Cheryl. Jedi, what's wrong with that suit? Kamami's wearing. It looks weird on her. She looks like she's wearing a man's suit. That's all she's ever worn. That's it. You know, and it's not even like a Donna Karen or something, or whoever make, or Vera Wang or anything, you know, that make, you know, sort of suits for women, if you will. You know, it's very Hagatha, you know, but she's an attorney and they don't do high fashion, you know. I don't know any gussied up female lawyers. I don't know none of In fact, one of the law firms I worked for, I was the executive assistant to the senior partner of the firm. And one of the attorneys was Shireen Jayatilaka. She was from India. Funniest person you're ever going to meet on planet Earth. Insanely funny. But again, she's a woman and she's an attorney. And she was Kamala. So I met Kamala before I even saw Kamala. That hair, that was Shireen. That's her. You go and you say, Kamemi has very broad shoulders like a man too. I think she's just in that because she's kind of, slender. Like, she's not I think it's probably just, she might still be doing shoulder pads from the 1980s. I don't know. D, I noticed them shoulders too. Monique. Good evening, King. Back at you, Queen. And you know that the main killers, the police, will never be added in any bill regarding the killing of African people. Of Africans, period. Yes. You go on and say, and the vice president, the whore in chief, was always meant to be seen and not heard. That's so true. And she really doesn't even try and they don't even try and act like, ooh, she's legitimate. Like they're it seems like they go out of their way to make the statement. She's just an eyepiece, and that's it. She comes out, she introduces him, and then she stands there. I don't know of anything significant that she's done to be even visible as vice president. Literally, I'll give it over if there's something. I don't know anything. That's not for me. Shiro, I completely understand, King. I miss you immensely. Pray to speak to you soon. I'm making fresh string beans, jerk chicken, wings, mac and cheese, my Sunday dinner. But still, those potato cakes, I'm missing. LOL. Man, I'm still mad about them. I'm still mad. I'm still mad. Like you ask me about it in 10 years, I'm still be mad. Still gonna be mad. Man, I hope you got some good I should be shot for this. What's the main seasoning for jerk chicken? I use the damn spice all the time. I will lose sleep if I don't know this. Let me go look at my damn kitchen, y'all. Damn it. Curry. Somebody just come shoot me. It's fine. Yeah, the dog is bleeding into my sound. I'm sorry, y'all have to go through that. Selena. Good to see your name. Shout out to you. Selena. Salinas. Hola, señora. Me hablo español. Anjane, we are the only ones that have to include others in our shit. It's black Oreo. Am I reading? It's black or Oreo, yeah. Oreo. That's it. D. All them Asians love about us is buying their damn shrimp fried rice. And if you live in Maryland or DC or Virginia, also they love for you to be at the curry out. The curry out, as black folks say. We have the curry out. The curry out. And Selena, how do you have this last name Bieber? Like Selena Gomez Bieber. That's just so random. Anjane, we are the only people who I read that. No, I read that. Did I read that? just for their community. No, we are the only people who include others in our shit. Asians and Latinos do things just for their communities. What is wrong about what is so wrong about black only? You just can't get, I mean, black people just don't even feel right if they, like, it's a psychological chain. I don't even know if they know they're doing it. Some of them, like, they have to go out of their way to be like, we include everybody. Fuck that. You know, I mean, it's again, it's another mental illness, dude. Monique, nothing. She is nothing. She is just in the background. Yeah. And doing her hair. And trying to make sure she doesn't smell like weed. That's to Shiro. I have all the ingredients, King. I'm marinating them overnight. Yes. You know what I'm saying? You might be able to come on my cooking show on Food Network. I don't know yet. Feel me? You might. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying you might. Feel me? I'm saying, I know you can't do it all. Me. Shiro, that's to Anjane. All right, let's go to this article now that's going to outline this whore and her insurrection, as it were, and by extension, this grand jury. This is when I wish I was on the other software, because it just shows up better when I'm doing articles. Let me see how much I don't like this. Or maybe I can just take me out of it for now as I go through the article. I can be okay with that. Wait. Yeah, I can be okay with that. All right. So Mississippi grand jury, of course, Mississippi, grand jury declines to indict the white whore in the Emmett Till murder case. Carolyn Whore had accused the 14-year-old boy of whistling at her in 1955. His killing helped galvanize the civil rights movement. And then this is the whore on the right. That's her. And at least two of the murderers right there. The whore, second from the right, sitting beside her former husband, Roy Bryant, and J.W. Millam, far left, during their trial. Okay, that's just the caption. Nashville, a grand jury in Mississippi. When is this from? This is from 9th August. A grand jury in Mississippi examining the case of Emmett Till, as if they did any examining, a 14-year-old African child whose abduction and murder more than 6 decades ago became a galvanizing force for the civil rights movement, has declined to indict the white bitch whose accusation prompted the attack, the terroristic attack, prosecutors said on Tuesday. Jurors in Leflore County in the Mississippi Delta, where Emmett had traveled from Chicago in the summer of 1955, heard more than 7 hours of testimony from investigators and witnesses with direct knowledge of the case. Still, prosecutors said the panel did not find sufficient evidence to indict the bitch, Carolyn Whore, on charges of kidnapping or manslaughter. After hearing, quote, after hearing every aspect of the investigation and evidence collected regarding the whore's involvement, the grand jury returned a no bill to charges of both kidnapping and manslaughter. The office of W. Dwayne Richardson, the district attorney for the 4th Circuit Court District of Mississippi, said on Tuesday. The grand jury's decision had been reported by the Associated Press. For more than 2 decades, prosecutors and legal experts have indicated that there were dwindling legal avenues for holding the whore or anyone criminally responsible for the abduction, torture, and killing of the teenager. Investigators, now saying he's a teenager. It's not a boy anymore. It said he's a teenager, everybody. He just grew up. Investigations were closed and no indictments or charges had been issued. Witnesses were aging or dying. The whore's husband at the time, Roy, and his half-brother, J.W., confessed to the murder, but only after they had been acquitted by an all-white devil jury. Both of their asses are dead. Glory be to Allah. Even so, new details kept emerging and reinvigorating the case. The latest case this summer, as relatives of Emmett and researchers looking into his murder, unearthed an arrest warrant for the whore, issued by the LaFleur County Sheriff and dated 29 August 1955, that had never been served. It accused her of kidnapping and led to the grand jury examination. Right there, you see. Wait, y'all. Okay, I don't want that. Maybe this will work. So that says to us that in 1955, there was an understanding that this bitch is guilty. An arrest warrant was prepared. It was never served, fine. But that it was prepared is telling. And I offer to you, let me just know of a murder before it happens. And then when it goes to litigation and the people who did it are caught and everything, they're going to try and insinuate me. Because I had knowledge of it and I didn't do anything. Here she precipitated the act. She's intimately involved in what eventually happened to Emmett Till. So that makes the bitch guilty. Period. Let's go on. See the murder of Emmett Till. These are all bullets. All right, the most recent, what were these bullets? Enduring legacy, recalling who he was, investigation, blah, blah, blah. All right, the most recent turn in this case on Tuesday could very well be one of the last options for prosecution in the case. Quote, the murder of Emmett Till remains an unforgettable tragedy in this county, end quote, prosecutors said in a statement. And the thoughts and prayers of this nation continue to be with the family of Emmett Till. Fuck that. We don't want thoughts and prayers. We want revenge, bitch. The Reverend Wheeler Parker Jr., a cousin and best friend of Emmett's, who is the last living witness to the abduction, described the development as, quote, unfortunate but predictable news, end quote. Okay, appreciate that. Still, he said he believed that prosecutors were living up to their assurances that, quote, they would leave no stone unturned in the fight for justice for my cousin. The prosecutors tried his best, quote, the prosecutor tried his best, and we appreciate his efforts, but he alone cannot undo hundreds of years of anti-black systems that guaranteed those who killed Emmett would go unpunished. To this day, the whore, or Mr. Parker said in a statement on Tuesday, the fact remains that people who abducted, tortured, and murdered Emmett did so in plain sight. And our American justice system, no, you should say your white system, was and continues to be set up in such a way that they could not be brought to justice for their heinous crimes. The whore, who was 88, could not immediately be reached. Are we surprised by that? She could be reached if somebody, if there was a will to reach her bitch ass. You see, we just don't show the will. In an unpublished memoir that surfaced last month, the whore stood by her earlier description of events and said she had tried to discourage her husband from harming the teenager. But then show me also where you went rushing and calling to the police and say, please, for the love of God, you got to stop my husband. Oh, we don't have that evidence because it never happened. All right, that's fine. And by the way, in an unpublished memoir, that surfaced last month. So look for now, by year's end, the bitch will have a published memoir. Watch. Just the publishers, I promise you, were holding on and saying, we don't know, you could be indicted and it won't be good for book sales. And so we have to see, you know, blah, blah, that'll be better for the book. Watch. The fucking memoir will be coming out. Watch. I told you. Mark it on your calendars today. Watch. Quote, he came in our store and put his hands on me with no provocation. I thought he whistled at you, bitch. Now he put his hands on you. Do I think he should have been killed for doing that? Absolutely, unequivocally, no. While I'm lying and say he touched me when it was a whistle, if it was even that, because I'm a lying white whore. You see, the Till family said the account was rife with inaccuracies. In other words, the bitch is lying. There had been thousands of lynchings, many in the American South, but the gruesome details of Emmett's killing reverberated across the country because his mother. Not because white people were so outraged and they just couldn't believe it, but because Mamie Till, Rahim of Allah. He was tortured and shot. A 75-pound fan from a cotton gin was tied around his neck, and he was thrown into the Tallahatchie River. When he was found, his skull had been crushed and his face disfigured. Again, I always am not in the right place because this is not the headline if I live in Mississippi. This is not the headline. His mother allowed photographers or photographs of his mangled corpse to be published by Jet magazine, transforming Emmett into an enduring reflection of vicious racism. No, of white evil. That's what it should say. That's what it should say. Of white evil. White vicious evil. That's what it should say. You see? Again, markers erected at sites connected to his death have repeatedly been vandalized by white people. Because you think somebody Indian would have any provocation to do anything to something that's in memory of Emmett Till? All right, strike them out. All right, you think any Latinos would just be like, we should just go and destroy sites erected to remember Emmett Till? No. It's a damn Chinese. It's got to be the damn Chinese. No, not the Chinese. Damn it. All right. Who else? Nobody. All evil goes back to white people. That's the fact of it. A grand jury in LaFleur, no doubt they were white, had already decided once before in 2007 not to indict the whore. That came after federal officials had launched an investigation in 2004. As his family, so it took them from 2004 to 2007 just to even do that. Like, what's there to investigate? What do you need to investigate? Like Dr. King said, justice delayed is justice fucking denied. The moment you hear wait or it's going to take time, that means it's already off the table. But you don't even need to get that far. Just you see it's not a black person, and it's not a black person that thinks and feels like us, it's over. Done. You don't need to waste your time. Again, we don't waste time in life. No need to waste time. Had launched in 2004 as his family and others maintained that other people had been involved in the lynching. Investigators exhumed Emmett's body. They also discovered a long-lost trial transcript and produced an 8,000-page report handed over to local prosecutors. A Justice Department investigation was reopened after a historian, Timothy Tyson, that's who, the last time we covered this, that's the one who interviewed the whore. He interviewed her. That's what I remember. The last time I covered Emmett Till, there's the videos here on the channel. It was from this Timothy Tyson dude. I remember the name. A Duke University professor claimed in a 2017 book that the whore had recanted the most salacious parts of her account, including claims made during the earlier murder trial that the teenager had grabbed her and made sexually crude remarks. You see? And this was born out of her own white fantasy, because it is a fantasy of white people, men and women, to be savagely sexually assaulted by African men. White men and white women are in love with the black penis. I just saw, it might have been my angel that sent it to me. I don't know. Could have been you, Anjanae. Somebody just sent me, or I learned it some kind of way. There was a shipment being shipped someplace, and it was marked as plantain or bananas. Anyways, they found thousands of black penises that were being shipped from Africa. And apparently there's some kind of delicacy. Somebody's literally eating black dick. I mean, I can't. That's why you have whole bitches. I knew this was going on in other parts of the world, but I also, it's one of the things I learned about Gambia. You have white bitches coming to Gambia for black dick. They coming for black penis. Old, wrinkled, 88-year-old bitches like this coming to get black penis. So this was in her fantasy, you see? And it doesn't even have anything to do with sexuality. So even white men are obsessed with black sexuality. I've told you this in the past. They're bigger fans of our sports stars than we're ever going to be. Ever. There is a homo eroticism that's there, a sexual desire from white men to black men. There is. And there's evidence to back this shit up. That's part that he makes these sexual remarks. That part is not true. Quote, end quote. He quoted her as saying, the recantation was not included in the portions of his conversations with her that had been recorded. The professor said he was relying on his notes. That's some bullshit. Anyways, in December, federal officials said that the inquiry had been closed and the prosecutors could not pursue perjury charges, citing the statute of limitations and the White Horse denial of ever having changed her story. So that was part of it. So just her word. You feel me? So not only, they could have left it at just the statute of limitations. Well, due to citing the statute of limitations, that should have been enough. It still would be some bullshit, and it should be enough. And the whore's denial of having changed her story. Well, and she denied it, so that definitely makes it true. I mean, she denied it. I mean, she said it out of her own white mouth. So we have the truth. She said it. That makes it true. That's essentially what we just read right there. I'll just read it again. In December, federal officials said that the inquiry had been closed and the prosecutors could not pursue perjury charges, citing the statute of limitations, no comma, and the whore's denial of having changed her story. Both, so she said it. So it was on the tablets that Moses brought down from Sinai. That's how we know it's true. So there's nothing we could do. We wish we could do something because we can't. So she denied it. She said it. The first principle, the white man is the devil, everybody. If we don't know that by now, then you should just dig your own grave and crawl into it, because there's nothing left for you. You know, some things have to be absolute. Indeed, all things are. But we live in a society among demons who play lackadaisy with truth as if it's optional. It's optional. No. Bitch, the sun rises in the east. That's a fact. Done. That's it. But not with them. You get to have an opinion. I just watched in the last days, I think it's called Common Ground or medium something, common something. Turn on the air for a minute, y'all. I don't want my devices to overheat. They had two groups. I'm just gonna let that blast for just a minute, and then I'm gonna turn it off because I don't like the way it affects my sound. But they had two groups. One was like 4 people who know that the Earth is not a globe, that it is a plane, and then you had these 4 scientists on the other side. At least 2 of which were like from India or something, you know. And I knew immediately from their conversation, their point of view, that they were probably atheist. And then some things they said subsequently after they got into conversation confirmed that for me. One of the dudes' name was even Ali. But here you are, a scientist. Because science is just the study of creation. So when they even mention, and he doesn't even realize and he's supposed to be a scientist. He doesn't realize the ignorance of his statement. He goes, well, you know, after the Big Bang, but you're a scientist. So where did the Big Bang happen? Where did that happen? How did that happen then? But they all accept Big Bang. So just out of nothing, right in front of me, a Big Bang just happened. Did you guys see it on camera? There was a Big Bang that just happened in front of me. Just out of nothing, it just happened. There's a Big Bang. You see, so while they start at that, they don't deal with it. The Big Bang, and then all their other shit after that. No, bitch. What about the Big Bang? What about the Big Bang? Because that's kind of when Allah said, be. So I use this as an example or another channel in order to say or to buttress my point that I'm making to you, that you live in a society where the truth is just optional. It's just optional. It's just optional. We don't know. It could be or could not be. We don't know. We just don't know. We don't know. We don't know. And we have to be over that. So it is a finite fact. The white man is the devil. And the specific enemy of African people. Because where's the list of Latino names that are being murdered by police? Where's the list of Asian names being murdered by police? Just don't have it. Where now is the list of Latinos that were redlined for real estate and the Asians? And where's the list of Latinos that couldn't eat at the lunch counter and the Asian? I mean, we just keep going, dude. We're the target. We're the ones. Why do you think that of all the countries that make up the what do they call it? Something, it has to do with the UN. It's in that same thing. No African nation. I think recently there was one African nation that was finally made part of it. You know, our continent is the only one that is overlooked, disrespected. In recent weeks, I brought you the evidence showing you that you can go on any travel site and put in flights from wherever you live to anywhere on earth except for Africa. See how many one-ways you can get, how many round trips you can get non-stop for no money, and then put from where you live to any country in Africa and watch what happens. So there is a concerted effort and this is the headquarters of it. There's a concerted effort by white people. They're always inserting themselves in our lives and in our affairs. And we have to be over that. But most importantly, we have to have a violent and physical reaction from violence and physicality against us. When it's collusion against us, we need to have a collusive answer for that. We got to give what we get. Do unto others as they do unto you. And they don't do the shit no more. Hold up. All right. Let me quickly come back to your comments and pick up there. So, as I'm trying to find now, again, we're waiting. Emmett Till has been in his grave for 6 decades now. So what my African mind says to me is that in 6 decades, there wasn't one black king that said, let's go off this bitch. Not even a phone call to the bitch house. That's also a story. And just as tragic, or just as, just as upsetting or infuriating as the murder of Emmett Till, that there's no response to it at all. And the bitch is still living. How'd she get to 88? How? How'd that happen? Monique. My dad was born in Brookhaven, Mississippi, and he would not go back there for years. I don't blame him. I lived in Arkansas when we moved to Arkansas when I was 10. We stayed there till I was at least 12, and I swore by Allah, if you get me out of here, I will never even drive through the state again. And wallahi, it is the truth that in 1997, me and my brother, he's not the next sibling, but he's the next boy, we made the trip from Maryland out to California to visit the family in 1997. And literally, I plotted our route so that we did not drive through Arkansas. I hate the fuck out of Arkansas. Why do you hate Arkansas so much, Jedi? Because A, there's white people there, but particularly every day I was called nigger. Every day I had to fight or nearly be in a fight. I had dead snakes thrown on me. You know, it was the worst thing, dude. Like Arkansas is a dark, dark time when I look back. The one thing I remember that was even a bright light, even 2 bright lights really. And I was just even thinking about this the other day because I was on the freeway and there was an Allied Van Lines 18-wheeler. I remember I stole one from the store. I wanted this truck so bad, I stole it. And that was in Arkansas. I stole that fucking truck. I was determined I was going to have that fucking 18-wheeler, and I did. That was a bright light. And also my half-sister, that's when I made her take her first steps when we lived in Arkansas. Everything else about Arkansas is a fucking blur and all things I hate. I can't. So I feel your dad on Mississippi. Shiro, we were programmed to include everybody throughout the Christian vomit. That's the fucking truth. Love everybody. You mustn't hate nobody. And Rahim of Allah, to my queen of my entire existence, my grandmother, Rahim of Allah. Subhanallah. But she used to always say that. But as I got older, my grandmother stopped saying that to me. She fully understood me. fully, 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 fully. And in unspoken times, and some things she would say to me would just let me know she would be worried about me, you know, because I am so outspoken, so forceful, so bold, give a fuck. And once she realized there's no changing that, and it wasn't like I was doing anything unrighteous, you know, so she just let me be. But I knew but she definitely stopped saying that to me. I don't need to love everybody, damn it. In fact, your life is a lot better if you understand there's some people you need to hate the fuck out of. You feel me? Miss Matthews, though we're not shocked, it's still she has no conscience. I don't know. I think somebody else got to comment in before you type the rest of that, so I'm out of context. Queen Shiro, I hate that Cheryl Bryant and I share the same whore's last name. I didn't even realize that because I was so busy calling her white whore. What's the bitch name? Carolyn Bryant, bitch. Let's just all have a moment of silence for you then, Queen, because it just doesn't look good. All right. Normally I wouldn't do this. All right. Let's send out a shipment of Valium for the Queens. Let's do that. Just send out Valium. That'll be fine. All right. That'll be on the way. Don't worry about it. You're going to be fine. Wow. But anyways, I hate that Cheryl and I share this white whore's last name. In the back of my mind, her demonic family owns some of our ancestors. That's it. Because ain't no Bryants in Africa, homie. It's just not. You feel me? I can call them up. They're going to tell you. Miss Matthews. She has no conscience. A teacher once said, no conscience, no soul. Well, that describes white people in general. Again, no prophet or book has ever been sent to them. All we see is from them is works of unrighteousness. I mean, you have to have a soul. You don't have it. You don't have it. You don't have it. So there's no conscience. There's no soul. Because a conscience would need a grand jury for this. Prosecutors don't need grand juries to indict you on some shit. Prosecutor can show up at your house and say, bitch, you're indicted. This is it. You feel me? So, no conscience, no soul from these people. We just have to be, you know, humanity is not being honest. And most of humanity is not paying attention to the true goings on in the way of white people. Most of humanity is not doing that. Not doing it. And part of the reason is because, especially in this nation, as I described to you earlier about reminding you of this being the dumbest nation. So when you don't put in the filler words, like when you have Kamala up there speaking and anything else that we read or watch, the filler isn't there. So they're not inferring the white hand. It just happened. It just happened, or that's just that, and that's just that. No fucking perpetrator, though. You see? So you go on, Miss Matthews, and say, the late beautiful author B.B. Moore Campbell once said, in part, what kind of woman would need her husband to batter or kill a child to prove his love to her? Paraphrased, and it's true. You know, I could do a whole video about that, Miss Matthews, because there are some women that get off on that shit. I don't say this white whore was that. I think she was like most white women were and are still to this day. If they're not trying to get your penis, then, or if you want to reject them, like remember we seen the brother a recent day, like in the last couple of years, something like that. We seen a brother that was playing some drums, and the white bitch just immediately thought he would be into her just because she say so, and he was like, I don't like white women. So, and she was just like stuck. Like, that's the type of bitch that now wants her boyfriend to beat him up. You see, because she couldn't get the black penis. That's exactly it. That's exactly it. No question about it. No question. So there's great truth in that, and but it's a whole other area that we could explore, you know, as just a behavioral topic, you know. Anjane, they act like they can't just off her or push her down some stairs. Damn, black people are too docile. I know, I'm saying, like, the bitch, look, since I was a child, you know, like when I was even in as early as kindergarten, you know, even if it wasn't me doing it, you saw it, you knew it, it was a known thing. So it's like when you in school, if something jump off between, you know, a couple people, something like that, then they letting you know. I don't care if you go to the office, you go to tell the teacher, you go to the principal. All we're gonna tell you is you gotta leave school, you gotta go home, you gotta go home, but you gotta go home, you gotta go home. You feel me? That's letting you know you're not gonna be safe. You're not. So the bitch gotta go out. You feel me? She gotta do something. Monique, they will never arrest her, right? Because as I said, the prosecutor could have just indicted the bitch just outright. And if he was really serious about the endeavor, he would have just cited the 1955 arrest warrant for a bitch ass. That could have been enough. You feel me? It's the equivalent. Well, it's not the equivalent, but it's the same idea as case law. You know, same thing. Same thing. Kiara, boy, I tell you, they different. I tell you, they are different as hell, man. There's nothing else like them on the planet. You know, Allah says all through the Quran, I have created jinn and men. You know, there's a whole video here on the channel about the jinn. The jinn exist in the spiritual world and in the real world, and they can either be good or bad. They are jinn. The jinn are the civilization of creatures that Allah created before mankind was created. And I just think these people are the fucking jinn at the very least, because at least it satisfies two principles for me. One, Allah is the creator of every living thing. The fact that they live, I have to acknowledge that. Fuck, they live. Damn it. So now how do I reconcile that? No, they're the jinn. There it is. It works for me. It fixes it. There, I fixed it. Sweet D. White men have always had black penis envy. That's why they cut it off after lynching. Exactly. And also, there is a phenomenon. I don't know if I ever brought it to you guys. I know I had intended to. You can look it up. I forget there's a whole term for it. But when you're lynched, you get an erection. So that's a part of lynching that I didn't know and it's never talked about. So you looking at probably like 10 inches sitting up there just sticking out while the brother is lynched. You feel me? So that's probably another reason for them cutting it off. Maybe this was the early advent of the dildo. I don't want to get into it. I'm going to left and you know, it just, but there's definitely envy going on. Envy. Even, you know, when I got to junior high school, that's the first time I went to a school where you have to change for PE, you know, and I didn't like being in the locker room. And one of the things that I remember is you know, whenever I went to get undressed, first of all, I was always embarrassed because I thought that having a large endowment was a bad thing because we didn't talk about sex in my house. But I noticed that, like, oh, I'm definitely bigger than these other boys, and I thought that was something to be ashamed of. So I didn't want to. Fuck, no battery. Damn it! I didn't want to be seen. Wait, oh, I'm under attack. Send reinforcements. But I would notice that there was definitely a what's a it wasn't lost on me that I felt I didn't know where to place it at that time because I didn't know anything about homosexuality or any. I didn't certainly know about that. What I was given was anything to be proud of. So but I did know that it felt like people were trying to see me whenever I was in the locker room. It wasn't until later in life that I was able to put the points of the light together, if you will, you know. And here's another phraseology that I've heard more than once across the country in my lifetime from white males. You know, they'll be saying something like to some other black dude that actually would be friends with their bitch ass, and be like, dude, I wouldn't fuck her with your dick. Why would you say that? Why would you say that? And I've only heard that from white people. I never heard it from another brother. Never heard it from nobody else. Just white dudes. That's it. You feel me? So there is definitely envy going on. You know, there's definitely envy going on, but it doesn't just stop there. It's why I've stressed to you and continue to stress to you that this melanin is not just like the divine was just being decorative. Ooh, I think I'll just paint this one brown. That'll look cute. No, bitch. We are different. We're different. We're as different as, we don't ever say that the millipede and the butterfly are the same thing. We never say that. We don't say that the raven and the eagle are the same. They're not. They're both birds. That's fine. They have wings. They fly. They have a beak. Oh my God. But we always say, no, that's an eagle over there. That's not a raven. That's an eagle. I'm an African, bitch. I'm an African. I'm an African. I'm not like anything else. Not. Miss Matthews. Exactly. When Freud taught that, quote, women hold penis envy, we yelled out in Psych 101 class, huh? We instinctively knew he was referring to himself and or other pale males. Humans are creatures of habit. I'll come back. Habits are patterns. Nowhere in history had blacks attacked Asians. It's the other way around in their shops. So those vids may assume are crisis actors. I want to say, let us be careful of using statements. I say this to everybody because I've spoken on this before over the years of my work. You adopt phraseologies and sayings and states of being and attributes that have just been sold and given. Don't do that. So when you say humans are creatures of habit, that's a white phraseology. Humans are not creatures of habit. We have animals that do that. Polar bears fucking hibernate. The butterfly fucking does. I mean, we could just go on. Humans are not creatures of habit. That's just not true. That's one of those things that seeps in. You feel me? That's why I always tell you, you got to be the captain of your vessel. You got to stand at your gate. Because then you regurgitate this out as something authentic and original from yourself. You don't realize that you are infected. That's an example of that. Don't do that. Humans are not creatures of habit. White people are. They are creatures, and they do the same shit over and over for every generation we could ever study them in. So that's for them, not for us. And you can't have a human and a creature be one thing. You're either a human or you're a creature. So just a little something to ponder. You go on, Miss Matthews, and say, likened to, I think you meant parasites. I don't know. I'll have to buy a vowel on that. But here's the thing. It's not just this murdering whore. She's worthy to be called that because she is why Emmett Till is not here anymore. And as I said earlier, she is, if not the first, she's certainly one of our first recorded Karens. You know, it's just such a, I mean, there's so many other headlines that could have been this headline and not this headline. You know, headline, in 6 decades, not one black person has even tried to snatch this bitch's wig off. You know, that's a headline. That's valid. You know, in 6 decades, nobody gave a fuck about Emmett Till. You know, I mean, you could just, you see where I'm going. There could just be a million headlines that you could come up with. It's not just about this whore. It's a commentary on us. It's a commentary on fear. It's a commentary on lack of action. And by default, lack of faith, unbelief, ignorance of the one who created. Because when you know who created you, when you really know who created you, all this other shit becomes like a crayon box to you. It means nothing. But most of all, fear dissipates. Fear dissipates. Fear dissipates. Because the only fear you should have is in the one that created you and the last day, bitch. That's it. Nothing else is worthy of your emotion of fear. Nothing or anyone. Nothing or anyone. So this is a commentary on that, because if it wasn't fear and Christianity, which leads to fear of everything but God, you would have had black men doing what should have been done, not just in the Emmett Till case, but any time in that era and this one. Any white aggression upon us is returned with black aggression, fast and furious. But we're just not seeing that. So there could be an Emmett Till today, and we've had Emmett Tills. We've had Trayvon Martin. We've had Eric Garner. We can just start naming all the list of people we know. And from Emmett Till to this day, we are still the same. They're still the same demonic, violent fucking devil that they've always been. And we're still the docile ass people who sit around and take it. So they haven't fucking changed, and we haven't changed. That's the hard truth of it. It's the hard truth. It's why this can still go on. It's why. It's why. And I think it will be good now in my summation to just see if I'm able to find this anti-lynching bill that the invalid signed, and just see if we can see the breadth of it. If it's worth its salt, it's going to be very languagey, and we're not going to get into that. We're just looking for some key points, and that's it. How do I want to look for it? We'll do this. What does, oh, not in caps. What does Joe Biden's anti-lynching law or do I put in a copy of Biden's anti-lynching law? I'm not really sure what I need to put in. Oh, here's B1. What is the language? What is the language? L-A-N-G. What is the language written in Joe Biden's anti-lynching law? Or maybe I need to get rid of his name and just put in the anti-lynching. What an anti-lynching law means. Biden signs federal anti-lynching. Okay, what is the language in, what is the language written in the, I should put in the, and federal anti-lynching bill. The federal lynching bill. Wait now. Okay, 2021 to 2022. Uh, 117th Congress. Oh, you don't even want to see this. Let's bring you in. You won't be able to see anything. I can't see shit. Emmett Till Anti-Lynching Act. It's an act, and I've already given you the education on the difference between an act and a bill. A bit, just to shorten it for you. That's not the word I wanted. It's something else. An act don't mean shit. A bill, because somebody else could just come in and say, oh, we're over that act. We're over that. But when you have a bill, that means that it has to be constitutionally changed if you're going to fuck with it. To amend Section 249 of the Title 18 United States Code to specify lynching as a hate crime, be it enacted by the Senate and House of Representatives of the United States of America and Congress assembled. This act may be cited as the, quote, Emmett Till Anti-Lynching Act, lynching other conspiracies. Section 249A of Title 18 United States Code is amended by adding at the end the following. So it's not even something new. It's being added to Title 18. Now you would say, Jedi, what's Title 18? You should be asking. But this is what's added. Lynching. Whoever conspires. So that's very dangerous language right there. Whoever conspires. I don't like it already. I'm seeing the thing the first time you're saying it. Same time as you. And I already don't like that word conspires. Because it leaves a loophole. Well, he didn't conspire, so therefore it's not a lynching. But we'll just read on in case I'm wrong. Whoever conspires to commit. Conspires. That means more than one. Con. With. Whoever conspires to commit. And any offense under paragraph 1, 2, or 3 shall, if death or serious bodily injury as defined in section 2246 of this title results from the offense. That means, so death or serious injury, be in prison for not more than 30 years, fined in accordance with this title or both. Just a second. Because if they were really serious about it, because you can't just put up a fucking swastika on something, they'll immediately say it's a hate crime, and then enact the subsequent penalty for that. They're saying this leaves room for the white devil to fucking put a noose on your doorstep, or ooh, they drew a noose and they showed it to you, or they had some little shit that was a noose and shit. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, well, only if you're hurt bodily injury and seriously, then they're, you know, because none of this shit is enacted unless that happens. And I can still lynch you, and if you don't have serious injury or bodily, or what is it? What was the language? Death or serious injury, then it's all fine. This doesn't come into play yet. I'm over it. Results from the offense of, okay, blah. Other conspiracies. Whoever conspires to, again, this word conspiracy, or conspires, whoever conspires to commit any offense under paragraphs 1, 2, and 3 shall, comma, that means a breath, shall, if death or serious bodily injury, so they'll make sure they restate that, and that death and serious injury is defined in section 2246 of the title, results from the offense. So only if death and serious injury, if that results from the offense, or if the offense includes kidnapping. So I can just lynch you right the fuck here without kidnapping you, and if there's no death or serious injury, I'm good so far under the law. But we'll keep reading. If it doesn't result from the offense, or if the offense includes kidnapping or an attempt to kidnap, aggravated sexual abuse, or an attempt to commit aggravated sexual abuse, or an attempt to kill, be in prison for not more than 30 years, fined in accordance with this title. So they're leaving the door open for other fucking people who are not black, not being lynched, to fucking have access to this as either a prosecution or a defense. This is bullshit. Don't write it if you want. You don't want it fucking scrutinized by the Jedi. God damn it. Section 3, determination of budgetary effects. Well, who cares about the budget? Interesting, they get into money. Why would that even need to be a provision? Not understanding. I'm going to go more into this on my own, you know. Summary 5. I'm just so tempted I have to click on this, y'all. This is the summary. The bill makes lynching a federal hate crime offense. That's a very, ooh, they did it. But when you start reading the fine language, and we only just read a snippet of it, then you go, well, this ain't really all that. It's not really, it just doesn't have it. Specifically, comma, the bill imposes criminal penalties, a fine, a prison term up to 30 years. So you can't even get life in prison for this, but let you go out and kill one of these fucking donut eating ass murderers. Huh? It's the death penalty. But a prison term up to, and I've told you in much of my work in the past, up to is one of the word. That's two words you don't ever want to see together. Or as low as. That means not your black ass. Up to means never. You feel me? You could say up to 50%. You're not getting 50%. You're not. Stay home. As low as, you're never going to get that price. This is right up there. A prison term of up to 30 years or both on an individual who conspires. Again, there's that word. So if you just do it by yourself, the law is not providing for that. The act is not providing for that. The act, bitch. The act. To commit a hate crime offense. Conspires to commit a hate crime offense. Well, I didn't hate him. I just hung him. Oh, it wasn't a hate crime. So then the act doesn't come into play under their language. Because they're setting out the parameters on an individual who conspires to commit a hate crime. First, you got to conspire, and it's got to be a hate crime offense that results in death and serious bodily injury. So you're gonna have to have your visa, your passport, your California ID, and we're gonna need a blood sample. You don't have those, you can't get in. This is that. So in order for this act to even be valid on a white devil lynching, then they need to have conspired. Well, Your Honor, there's no evidence of conspiracy here. I mean, my client was alone. It's the first thing going to be out of a defense lawyer's mouth. Didn't conspire to commit a hate crime. And they're not really defining hate crime, but you got to hear do one of these fucking, I don't know what, from man or woman people. Oh, we know it's a hate crime. For sure it's a hate crime. It's hate for sure. You see? So it's got to be conspired. It's got to be a hate crime offense that results in death or serious bodily injury, or that includes kidnapping or attempt to kidnap, aggravated sexual bullshit, an attempt to commit aggravated sexual abuse. How do we get to sex? Like, you're lynching somebody. Where do we get to sex? What happened? What? It's meaningless. This has no teeth. It's not a bill. Interesting that they start out. It says Emmett Till Anti-Lynching Act. That's the title of the resolution bill, or the legislation, if we're going to call it that. Then the very first header, this bill. It's not a bill. It's an act. It's an act. It is not a bill. It's not a bill. It is an act. And so we might as well just review our information of the difference between an act and a fucking bill. No, that's going to be your homework. I've covered it, and it's more value to you, especially for something this simple, if you look it up on your own. I'm not going to do it. You're going to do it. That's your homework. You're just going to put in a simple search to educate yourself about the difference between an act and a bill. And then you will understand the theory that is coming from the Jedi. This is an act. And what did the video say? Historic injustice. Biden makes lynching a U.S. hate crime. That's very vague and ambiguous. It doesn't tell you in that if it's even a law or a bill, if it's a bill or an act. This clip was from Al Jazeera English, and the description on the video, it says 7,000. Oh, that's views. United States President Croak fucking Joe has signed into law the first federal legislation that makes lynching a federal hate crime in the country after civil rights groups push for such a measure for more than a century. All right, that's just fuck those people. They don't know anything. Fact of the matter is, language matters, everybody, and so it doesn't matter. It may seem like a little thing, but this is when this will become some real bullshit. Is the moment somebody is standing in a court of law, because when you get into a court of law, language fucking matters. I don't give a fuck what you got to present or any of that. The language is everything. Even the shall, may, will that I've broken down for you in the past. Can, may, shall, and will. Those are 4 different fucking things. Totally different under the law. Completely different. And so when you're looking at this HR, whatever the fuck it was, and you begin to understand this is an act and not a bill, that means it can just go away in a puff of dust. You could see they had no real desire to do it anyways, or it wouldn't have taken this long. It's 2022, and now, but Eric Garner wasn't enough for a lynching bill. Philando Castile wasn't enough. Altonstone wasn't enough. I mean, Sandra Bland wasn't enough, you know. But now we'll go way back to 1955, while the bitch is still living, who precipitated the murder of the lynching of this young boy. And now we will give you an anti-lynching act. Nothing happened. This is not a headline, other than for the fact that it's some more bullshit. That's why it becomes even relevant. Like, look, more bullshit from this fucking white devil, while trying to look like they've done something amazing. The law of the land is fuck with black people. That's the law of the land. That's a law. And anything that conflicts with that, you get this type of language. Wow. This was added to Title 18. So now we have to ask ourselves, what is Title 18? What does it say? What does Title 18 say? This is how you learn. The title deals with federal crimes and criminal procedures. In its coverage, Title 18 is similar to most U.S. state criminal codes, which typically are referred to by such names as Penal Code, Criminal Code, or Crimes Code. So they just attach this little piece to that in an act, not a bill. Wow. I did not need a PDF. Yeah, we're definitely not looking at this. It's too cerebral for me right now. And I'm hot as fuck. All right, somebody come through ice on me. You're going to also look up Title 18. I just read you the summary of it, but you need more than that if you're interested. I always tell you, you need to know your enemy, your environment, and your condition, everybody. And part of that is you need to educate yourself on shit. White people are very good and have always been very good at writing shit down. They tell themselves all the time. It's kind of what they do. And one of the gifts I've been given is, first of all, an interest in language and law and the ability to do dissertation on it. Because I know that's where the truth is. That's where the answers are. I'm that dude. You can't watch TV with me because I have to have a remote. Because as soon as they run an ad, I pause it because I'm reading the fucking fine print. Because none of that other shit matters to me. What's the fine print? What is it? What's that say? You have a lot of apps and things on your phone that you just hit agree. You don't ever sit there and look through the shit like, oh, this is telling me. Oh, that's some bullshit. No, I would never agree to that, but you've agreed to it. You're coming out of the grocery store. There's always, invariably, there's somebody there with a petition they want you to sign. And they get very confused because they're just making money per signature. I get it. They're just on a hustle. That's why they're doing it. They're not invested in whatever it is that they want you to sign for. They've been given some vomit line to give you to get you to sign it. But when you read the fine print on the back, you realize you're giving more money to the fucking police. You're allowing this, and a third. You don't have shit to do with the petition they have you sign. Nah, I read the shit. Nah. So what you mostly need to walk away with from this is, first of all, understanding that we don't understand why this bitch isn't dead or severely crippled. Definitely incapacitated in every single way except for breathing, maybe. And so we don't understand that. And then also, you need to walk away from this understanding that there could have been a prosecution if the prosecutor was serious. A prosecutor can indict you on their own evidence of what they say is presentable to a court. A judge or a magistrate and a jury can decide if this is some bullshit. That's later down the road. But prosecutors have immunity and they can bring shit. There's a lot of people sitting in jail right now across the fucking country. Just the prosecutor wanted your ass. You understand? Tom Snedden is a perfect example of this. Michael Jackson, Rahim of Allah. So there wasn't a real honest investment by the prosecutor to go after this bitch, because they could have done it very dramatically. Prosecutor said, we're indicting her, and there could have been a raid on her house and shit, you know, an aerial shot from helicopters. Oh, they're bringing the bitch out now, you know, type thing. But none of that, you know. So there wasn't a real serious desire to indict this bitch. And you should also go away from this understanding what I've said to you, holding up the mirror to you. We are still the same. It's just been 6 decades since Emmett Till. But our shit goes back before 1619. And when are we going to strike and show resistance and aggression against these fucking violent ass terroristic attackers upon us every fucking day? When? This is not reality. It's not the way you're meant to live your existence in your arc of life on the planet. This is not it. This is not it. We're just being subjugated by these fucking people all the fucking time. And then, of course, they quoted a fucking reverend. Not some hot-headed motherfucker like me who's ready to take this shit down to fucking ashes. They're never going to have me quoted any place in a fucking newspaper or an article or anything else. But let's go to a reverend. Whatever his name was. The reverend, whatever his name was. That's why I said it the way I said it. Because here it was, another fucking Christian pastor. Of course. Couple more comments left here. Monique, the language means everything, and there is always a loophole included. And that's how you got. If you I don't know if you've seen it, Monique, but anybody who hasn't seen it, you should go and watch my video on the channel here called how to always get what you want in the society. I think that might have been what I titled it. Good night, Monique. This is in that same lane. You gotta read, man. Last thing I'll say is this. Well, I've shared it in that video. You should go and see that video because I can't remember everything now. But I've told you this, and I'm sure I tell the story in that video that I just cited. You know, back when I lived in Maryland, I kept seeing these Bally's Total Fitness ads. I'm getting a lot of shadowing tonight. I don't know what's going on with me. I'm just not. Oh, subhanAllah. That's why you look different, Jedi. Because, you guys, I'm deliberately in the sun now. I'm just like, I don't give a fuck. I'm in the sun. So I'm darker than I am. You maybe don't see it because I light myself the same way, but I'm darker, dude. I'm darker. Like, I'm in the sun on purpose. Like, get out there and walk. Get in the sun, Jedi. Start acclimating your body to just being in the fucking sun, being in the heat. Do it. Anyway, So I'm just like, why do I look different to me? That's why. That's why I'm even getting more shadowing here. Like my skin is smooth and it just looks like there's, it just doesn't like, but it's how anyways. I kept seeing these ads for Bally's Total Fitness. And I was just over it because I wanted to go to anybody's Total Fitness. You know, I wanted to get in shape, but I was just like, I'm not paying because I don't like paying. I'm not paying. I can't. Well, they kept running the ad, and I kept noticing I don't see any small print under the ad. There's no small print. And I watched it, finally decided, let me record it. Set my VCR, and just whenever, because it's going to run at some point. So I just tape a bunch of shit I'm not going to watch, and then just scroll to it until I see this, until I catch this ad. And at last, I caught the ad. And again, no fine print. It was $18 down, $18 a month, no contract. I'm going to Bally's Total Fitness. So I went to Bally's Total Fitness with my videotape in hand. I left it in the car, in my duffel bag. I go in and they're giving me that whole sort of find out who you are and let's go into my, no. I saw your ad on television. I want $18 down, $18 a month. That's what your ad says on television. Well, let's just sit down and talk because, you know, actually, and I can't remember, they were starting to give me, like a qualifier for that. Like as if it was, it's going to be that, but there's also like, but that's after you pay something else. And then it's this. I'm like, no. This is I don't know if the ad is national or not, but it's certainly regional, goddammit. So I said, let me go out to my car. I went out to my car. I came back with the videotape. I showed them the videotape. They had a fucking one of those TVs that has the VCR. It's one thing. Like, it's one thing. And I said, so this is your ad. I can march into any court in the land, and that's going to be actionable. I want $18 down. I don't want no contract. There's nothing you got to show me or tell me. I don't need a tour of the gym. I want my $18 down, and I want my $2 back. I gave them $20. They gave me my $2 back. Done. Don't advertise this shit if you're not going to stand by it. I could have walked in, like I told them, I could have walked into any court in this land, show that videotape, and go, I don't understand why I didn't get $18 down, $18 a month, Your Honor. And it would have been worse for them because I could have imagined some psychological injury that I had too, and I was just so devastated. And it just brought up you know, it just reminded me of the death of a friend of mine, and I could have come up with a bunch of shit that could have equaled maybe 15 grand in maybe damages on top of my $18. The moral to this story is read shit, man. Read. The other thing about America is it's a very litigious society. You understand? People want to sue for everything. Remember the fat bitch that sued because her coffee was hot? Bitch, you know coffee was hot? Same fat bitch would have been complaining if her coffee had not been hot or warm. It had been cold. How dare they serve me cold coffee? This coffee is stale and I can't go on. That same bitch would have been suing. Same whore. But there she was, and she prevailed. So that's case law now. I should just go through the drive-thru at McDonald's tomorrow and just have them spill coffee on me. Oh my God, I can't believe it. Hot coffee. Who knew it was hot? 10 million. That's the only thing that will help me. So it's a very litigious society, and you can sue or be sued on some little tiny print that you didn't know fucking existed. So be aware of that. Be aware of that. Just like what we understand now about this anti-lynching piece of nonsense. So that, God forbid, we know somebody personally or something, and we think, oh, that's the anti-lynching law. They're going to do this, and you don't know immediately. No, set your ass down. Don't get excited because it's not what you think it is. You know, whatever. the white man is the devil and they speak with a forked tongue, and this was another demonstration of that. Have this big ceremony with all these Negroes standing behind him as if Joe Biden was doing something amazing for black people, and then bring up the wench whore, you know, to act as if they've done something tough, and none of it meant anything at all. The Jedi has demonstrated that to you, hopefully very eloquently this evening. That's what it is. So today is Saturday. Inshallah, tomorrow, I say that with maybe, I wanted us to be together over on Jedi Africa, everybody. We're going to have more and more the millennials are home next door. That's why the dog is barking. I'm over it. Anyways, we're going to have more and more activity going on as we get closer to my exit. In fact, somebody just sent me something yesterday, or I think it was yesterday. Gary, it was Gary, was like, again, this question I keep getting, Jedi, are you still going to do videos when you get to Africa? If I hear that one more time, I probably will have to kill myself. I'll just have to, because there'll be no reason I could make up to go on, and why I would need to exist anymore. And so I would just have to just be over. But obviously my activity on this channel will be in decline, because once even not just once I get to Africa, but obviously my lead up, there's more and more, you know, like I'm going to be like, I'm not interested in none of this shit. This is what I'm focused on. This is what you need to focus on, you know. And invariably there'll be things that I'll have to, or just feel, you know, I need to have my say on, or I need to offer a perspective, or whatever the universe gives me. That's fine. That will always be organic. But, you know, the focus necessarily and by default will be my journey and what I'm doing, you know. And I just let it take care of itself, you know. But anyways, I'm hoping if we're not together tomorrow, Monday on Jedi Africa. I think I can commit to that. That gives me a little bit of wiggle room, because my best friend has called since we've been on, and I didn't answer because we're on. So I know I'm going to call Joseph tomorrow, and I could just be phoned out, you know, or whatever. And I see the time now. I wasn't aware of it. I don't even know what time I started tonight. But it's late enough now that I could maybe take a sleeping pill. Something else I've been doing too, y'all. This is random, a little off track. I don't care. It's not really off track because it's whatever. But I'm trying to say, like, I've been one of the things I've been doing to try and assuage my food fear and lack of food decision and stuff like that is I started drinking these smoothies that I'm making. I put like either coconut milk or almond milk, or both. Coconut milk, almond milk, peanut butter. It's got to be crunchy peanut butter without hydrogenated oil. So almond milk, coconut milk, peanut butter, bananas, raw oats, honey, spinach, and there's something else I put in them. I can't remember. Something else. And I just blend that all up and I drink it. You know, I put ice in there too, you know, and I drink it. And yeah, those have been really good for me, you know. I'm trying not to go to Africa as a fucking skeleton, but I don't really care, because I'm gonna get fat when I get there. Because I'm gonna eat everything in sight. Give me that. Give me 2 of them right there. I want some more. Anyway, I want to say I love you guys all. I thank you guys for coming to be a part of the stream this evening. Shiro, I also, one of the reasons I'm not committing to, I'm leaving it loose of whether I'm going to be on Jedi Africa tomorrow is because I want us to speak, inshallah, tomorrow. And so if we don't get in tomorrow, then I'd like to get us in on Monday, but I'm intending tomorrow, inshallah. Like even before I call Joseph, I think if we could just get in early, that would be good for me, you know, and probably for you too. It's Sunday, you know. So we'll just see how that goes. But Miss Matthews, it was good to see you. Anjane, of course. Selena, I think you're new. I pray you'll subscribe. Anyone who's out there's watching, I feel like tonight we're probably going to have at least 300 people once I always say refresh after we go off, everybody. Refresh. Because we have this number in the room, it's always way bigger than that when we see what's really going on. I don't know why those people just sit out there, you know. Many of them are probably White Devil, and others, you know, some of them are people that come to try and get some knowledge from me and then go back to their channel and present it as authentic. They will always fail. They are not the Jedi. So whatever. So if you're out there and you're a ghost, you can subscribe. Portia Snelling, Monique, it was good to see you, although I know she's already gone to bed. So if she watches the rest of this, just know that I shouted you out for a good night, Monique. Mike Jefferson, it was good to see your name tonight. Frankie, of course. Everybody, you know, but there was just some names that I really wanted to make sure that I acknowledged, you know, a little stronger, just to show my appreciation type thing and to acknowledge that I hadn't seen them in a while, etc., etc. We also all noticed that also rain falling sounds got really quiet after I identified it as a White Devil. You see, we know white speak. We know it. We know it. We know it. And it goes back again to language. You understand? Shira, I see this. You say, Jedi, I do have a question. Wait, why am I sitting here struggling? I can just click on it. Blessed night to you too, sweetie. I just seen that. I'm seeing comments I didn't see. Oh, Shira, I'm in the sun like that too. Then you say, King, I do have a question, and I'm only bringing it up now so I don't forget. Have you met any doctors that you can choose from in Africa? No. And I'm glad you asked that, because I want you to remind me to go in depth on that when we are over on Jedi Africa. I need to do like a whole discussion about just like doctor, medical, healthcare, and I don't think I've really gone into great detail on that yet. I know that I would have eventually, and I will even going forward, but this is something that can also still be discussed now. So I am glad you bring that, Queen. And it's interesting you bring that, because somebody just, who was I talking to? I don't know, that just came up in the last day or two, something, just that same thing again. Yeah, I want to make sure I speak on that, so make sure you remind me. Shout out to Originals US, as the wheels are just now touching the runway for landing. J9, shout out to you. Correndo, shout out to you. I love all you guys. But I've touched down now, and we're right at the just about the 3-hour mark. So we're gonna shut it down, everybody. So I can just keep the gas in my tank, and inshallah we'll be together tomorrow or Monday on Jedi Africa. Until then, I love you guys all, and Have a great night. Rest well. This is the Jedi.